when we say it's a divisive issue, there are equal numbers on each side. The number of people who are opposed to fracking dwarfs the number that are for it. I don't want to confuse the point people on each side for the numbers that support them.
I think though that you have a lot more authority over the outcome than you realize. And I'll tell you why. The thing that works against upstate New York is the imbalance of power between upstate and downstate. You can use that to your advantage, because if there was ever a downstate issue that is created upstate, it's the Hudson River, it's the Susquehanna for Pennsylvania. To me, that is the power that you hold, and it is the power that has already caused downstate to not do this. You just need to, if you want to be successful, in my personal opinion is, you need to look at where the power is and convince those people, because that's the state legislature. Jim Seward, who's my friend, will tell you that. And the numbers bear it out. I don't know if you've ever seen a little map. It's 8 million people and us, right? So I would think about that strategically and realize that you can actually put New York City on your side if that's where you want to go with this. That's my quick thumbnail sketch of the thing. I really think you have a lot more authority over this outcome than you realize. You just have to think about where the authority is. And it isn't here, as you already outlined, but it is downstate, and they feel strongly about this. And all of our water goes there eventually. Is that wrong? I mean, not all of it, but certainly a lot of it.
So at least down to the
I'm sure that's my phone. I apologize.
Ask me one more question.
Yeah, sure.
Can you give us some specifics about what you are prepared to do in response to all this?
Well, first of all,
Because you're asking for,
yeah,
for
I'm not, no, actually, you're wrong about that.
you're not asking for.
Well, I don't want to lie to you. You know, I'd like to go for you, but I'm not. Is that
You're withdrawing from the race.
Oh, whatever, it went away.
You're withdrawing from the race.
No, I'm here, sure, I would love to have you vote for me, but, you know, I appreciate the simple truth that the Republican Party has made the tragic mistake of identifying itself as unenvironmentally responsible, right? George Bush caused a lot of that. I don't argue with that. So I'm not here because I think I'm going to convince you to vote for me. I don't know that. But I do belong to a party who was guilty of I think, the kind of wholesale elevation of oil and gas companies over a period of time. Their paradigm caused a lot of what we saw it in Iraq with Halliburton and the thievery, right? I mean, it's just they're all they're unindicted criminals,
Right.
right? So I mean, I'm not here.
I'm just asking about fracking, specifically.
Well, I would like to know what there is I can do about it. And I'm a smart guy. I've been in business all my life. There are things that I understand on both sides of this. I mean, I take it from listening to you that gas drilling without fracking is generally accepted.
Not by me, no.
Well,
No.
we need somebody who really can articulate the issues, who is at the speak of the federal and state level. Can you do that? Can you articulate the underlying issues like we're just spoken about here and around the group? I mean, your vote is not just important, it's your ability to speak the message to all those Republicans and others. Can you do that?
Well, I think what you have to do is watch this race for the next 2.5 months and you decide. This is the top race in the United States right now. It's certainly the top one in New York State, and one of the top 5 or 10 in the country for whatever reason. And you know, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that. I want you to figure that out on your own, because I'm my own. I'm not here to sell.
No, that, to me, that's the challenge that I see. What I look to for you, you know, in judging is how well. It's not just being pro the moratorium or anti-drilling. It's also to really articulate the issues.
Yeah, and I'm very much a pro-business person. You got to know. Does that mean that I'm going to sacrifice the environment in the process? Absolutely not. Balances have to be made, and I said. I mean, I heard you, you know,
Thank you.
it's not over the top for me to understand. I appreciate what you're saying. But I want to listen to the other side too, because there are two sides in this. And I'll say this to you, I've come out publicly against this. It's not something I've done I'm not here to, I have nothing to hide. Everything I've said on this subject is out there publicly, and
You're against what exactly?
the fracking process.
Period.
Period.
So essentially you're for ban on fracking.
As I understand the technology, it is completely unsafe. I'm not comfortable with it. So the answer to that is yes. No, I don't need to equivocate with you. That's what it is.
You know,
That's what we're.
governments are,
It doesn't mean if they come up with a process that is safe, I wouldn't be for it. But I don't see that on the horizon, although there are companies out there that are talking about it.
And there are people in this room that are doubting it, but there's a context of, we're so used to people parsing out words.
Yeah.
You know, we ought to hear it 8 different ways to make sure.
Well, and you know what also, I'm not a particularly well-guarded person. I get myself in trouble because I stay who I am. I have 3 endorsements in this race: the independent, conservative, and the Republican endorsement. And I have gotten those endorsements being myself. The conservative is a difficult one for me. I'm pro-choice, and it's not difficult for me, it's not difficult for them, right? But I'm also personally against abortion. It's not, and I have tried to weave through this process by being candid, being myself, and accepting the idea that my brand may not win me this election, but that's okay. I'm here because you said, Morgan, right?
yes.
That you think actual people who've had real life experience as opposed to panderers, which is what you just said, should be in government. So if you think that's a possibility, and you really mean that, so I'm not a Democrat. Doesn't mean you can't vote for me. I'm not the best Republican either. I never make a great Democrat. I'm just a,
I'd like to see the
you know what I
Republicans
mean?
get sane again. I kind of miss them being sane.
What you need is government that is responsible and responsive. It's not just the how you vote, it's the why you vote. You should be cynical of people who vote both sides of one issue consistently, because all that tells you is there's a lack of principle
But,
and a lack of leadership.
but also government, I think, is to represent the wisdom of the will of the commons. If you had everybody in New York State